One of the most common questions I get from students towards the end of the semester is, what do I need to get on the final exam to get a certain grade in the class, a 90 or a B or an A or a whatever in the class? So in this video, I want to talk about how you compute what you need to get on a final exam grade to get a certain grade in the class. So we're going to assume that we're doing our grades based off of a weighted percentage. Some instructors do like a total point system, but we're going to go with a weighted average in this example. That's pretty typical. This is what a lot of instructors do. So for our example, let's say homework is weighted 15%, chapter tests are weighted 60%, and the final exam is weighted 25%. And you can obviously adjust these percentages around to be, whatever it is in your class. You can even add categories. You can you can have a quiz average if you want to make 4 categories or whatever, but we'll just do ours with 3. So let's explain this in the context of like a real example. Let's say we're in a class and we have a chapter test average of 86. We have a homework average of 95. And then we're wondering, okay, what do I need on the final exam to earn a 90 for the class? Maybe this is like a college level class and a 90 is an A, as is the case with most college level classes. And we're curious what we need on the final exam. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to take our chapter test average, and we'll multiply it times its weight, which was 0.6. So we'll have 0.6 times 86. And then we'll take our homework average times its weight, which would be 0.15. It was 15% weight. So, and we'll add that. So 0.15 times 95, and then we'll add to that the final exam weight, which is 25%, times, and here's the key, if you don't know what you need on the final exam, or you don't know what you're going to earn on the final exam, we'll call this a variable name. That's really the key to the whole thing. So we'll call this X because we don't know what we need to get on the final exam to get a particular grade. So we'll take that 0.25 times X, whatever that mystery number is, and we're going to set this equal to whatever we want to earn in the class, like in this case a 90. Now, if you're really wanting to get right up to the line, you could even get away with setting it equal to 89.5, because a lot of instructors, if you get an average of 89.5, they'll round up to a 90, but that's something you might want to check with your particular instructor. We'll just go with equals 90 to be on the safe side. So anyways, if we cut this off here, the left-hand side would be like just computing your final grade for a class that has a weight of 60% for the chapter test, 15 for the homework, 25 for the final exam, where we earned an 86 chapter test average, a 95 homework average, and a blank on the final exam. But we have this set equal to 90 because we want our final grade to equal 90. And so really all we have to do now is solve for X. And this is just a basic linear equation. And so let's crunch these numbers and solve for X. So I'll get my calculator out here. All right. What I've done is I've kind of sped through the process a little bit. I took 86 times 0.6. That was the weight for the chapter test. That was 60%. 95 times 0.15, 15% was the weight for the homework. And since those are both constants, I went ahead and added those up. We got 65.85. 65.85. So we got 65.85 plus 0.25x equals 90. Okay, and then we'll solve for X by subtracting 65.85, and then once we do that, we'll divide by the 0.25. I'll go back to my calculator. So I took 90 minus the 65.85, and I got 24.15, and then I divided that to solve for X by 0.25, and we get a final answer of 96.6. So let me write out those details. We have 0.25 X equals 24.15, And then to solve for x, I'm going to divide by this coefficient of 0.25. And so x would equal 96.6. So that's what I need to score on the final exam to earn a 90 for the class. Now, one small problem, you probably can't score a 96.6, so you would likely want to just round that up to a 97. Again, you might be on the safe side scoring a 96 because that would potentially leave your average at least an 89.5, but let's not risk it. Let's go with a 97 here. And again, you have to check with your own instructor about if it rounds up to a 90 or not. So we would need a 97 on the final exam to get a 90 in the class. Now, why is that so high? I mean, because that seems awfully high to get an average of a 90. Well, and especially considering we had a 95 homework average. Doesn't that count for something? Well, remember the homework average was only weighted 15%, which isn't a lot. The chapter tests were weighted 60%. So because your chapter average was relatively low compared to a 90 and 86, then that's going to drag your average down below a 90, and you'll have to do really well in the final to pull that average up to a 90. So anyways, that's how we compute what we need to earn on a final exam to get a certain grade in your class.